ready for another lesson?
What's up, everybody, and welcome back to Back Row Banter, your favorite casual movie talk podcast. I'm one of your hosts, Adam Schwartz, and on this week's episode, we'll be talking about the movie Princess Mononoke. But of course, before we get to any of that, I'm joined today by not from around here, Nathaniel Gingrich.
What up, folks? I'm not from around here. I just wandered in from the east.
Kind of true.
Actually, the West.
The west, yeah. That is true.
Yeah.
But
Basement boy.
Lack of basement.
Lack of basement boy. There you go.
You know what else we didn't have as much of? Light pollution. It's cool to be able to see the stars.
That is, you know what? You got us there. You got us there.
Grass having ass bitch.
Go mow your gravel lot, Nathaniel.
No grass, but a good ozone layer over the top of us.
Hilarious. Also joining us today is trusty steed Tyler Vidalis.
What's up?
There's a very trusty steed in this movie, and I'm inspired.
I will correct you and say trusty mount because it is not technically a steed.
I had the same thought. I was like, is that technically a steed? Because spoilers, I guess it's an elk.
No.
So, you ever just crept up on a deer and rode one for several miles?
It's more like a gazelle or...
Well, they say I'm pretty sure in the sub, they say the line is like, I've never seen an elk like that before or something like that.
They said they call it a red elk or something like that. I'm pretty sure.
Well, then maybe it's just like, their version of, whatever it is.
Oh, it's definitely made up. I'm pretty sure.
Yeah.
It does look like mythical.
Yeah, it's definitely reminiscent more of like an impala from like the horns or like a gazelle or something like that. So.
Or what's the ibex? Is that what I'm thinking of?
Yeah.
Yes.
Ibex.
Yeah, the ibex. Yeah, just like an ibex. That's what I'm thinking of. And rounding out the squadron today, of course, is Big Boar BlakeHolder.
Hey, what up? What up?
How you doing this week, Blake?
Good, man. It's a little rainy and cloudy here today, right? In Chicagoland area.
The weather recently has I said it last week, it sucks.
Classic spring.
Yeah. Here's the question, do we think we're out of snow?
No, there's always one last
final
one.
answers.
I think today was like the last possible chance that we could have gotten snow. Because after this weekend, it's supposed to be warming up.
There's usually like one May flurry, like early May in the first 2 weeks, and then that's usually the last one.
So ties.
I don't think so.
Eventually, yes, right? Nathaniel, Adam, do you think we got another snow in the forecast here?
Let's go. Yes.
Okay.
If we're talking like flurries of any kind, yeah, we absolutely will get some kind of.
Yeah, but if we're talking about something that sticks, no shot.
Nothing will stick. Yeah,
okay.
Nothing's gonna stick from here on out. I'm not gonna say that much, but
I'm gonna say 2 to 3
flurries
weeks.
Could fall.
2 to 3 weeks of hard snowfall here coming up.
What do you even know about our weather system here? You don't know our climate like that, Nathaniel.
Well, that's what I'm saying. I see snow and I get freaked out now, and
like everyone else.
I don't know what to do.
Yeah. They forget how to drive.
Yeah.
I got a tea time set up for Saturday, so we're hoping for warm
Saturday high. I'm looking at the weather, high 56.
That's not bad. You can golf in that though.
Well, what time's your tea time?
8 a.m.
Not gonna be 56 degrees.
No, it's not. But the sun will come out, and by the time it gets to 11 and we're closer to the turn, it'll start warming up.
You get a couple 2-3 shots in the morning, warm you right up. A little Irish coffee for you.
Yeah, little Baileys.
Ty, I'm gonna need
cream.
I might be reaching out, man. I need some clubs for this summer, right? And I'm gonna get.
Oh, you're getting on the green.
I think I got to, man. I just know too many people who go golfing too often in the summers to not just have a set of clubs available, whether I like it or not. Like, I'm gonna be golfing.
Yeah.
I just I'm gonna have occasions.
Not a cheap
where I
hobby.
Golf. I know it's not, but I think I'll enjoy it. The times I have gone to Topgolf, to the driving range or whatever, or like a simulator. I've done the simulator a few times. I have enjoyed like just swinging and swinging outside on the course while drinking, some beers, whatever it is, with your homies. That sounds like a fantastic time. So I think I'm probably going to enjoy it. I don't see a world where I wouldn't, unless like I suck and just get super frustrated. But I don't think that'll happen either. I think I'll be good enough, and I'll get some lessons. And I know that's what everyone says too. But yeah, I've got the swing down from baseball, and I've got the touchdown from tennis. So I feel like I've got some good like foundations set up.
Good working mechanics.
Right, exactly. All I need to know is how to optimize.
Shoulder.
Exactly, it's ready to go, man.
We're good.
So I just need a few lessons and
Blake
tips.
Just laughing all day.
I just need to be optimized for golf, and I think we'll be out there, hitting 90s.
90 yards? I'm gonna be honest, that's not good.
No, not 90 yards, Ty.
Cranking 90s.
If you can, if you can break 100 over the summer, I will be very impressed.
Break 100 this summer?
Yeah.
That's actually a good
Have you ever
goal
been on
that
a green before? Yeah, I don't know how
seriously.
likely that is. I'm not versed in golf though, right? But
I know that's not
my
likely.
understanding.
I know breaking 100
incredibly
is not
difficult.
easy. Yes,
Okay,
I agree.
for sure.
I know that's pretty difficult, but you never know. Like I said,
I mean, you gotta have a goal, right? Like you gotta have something to strive for. I think that's 100%. An admirable place to start.
Yeah, good goal to have. But yeah, Ty, I need some tips on what clubs to get and whatnot. So I might be reaching out soon.
Go to Goodwill
down
with a 20.
Yeah, I wouldn't maybe necessarily go. Goodwill's not like terrible. You can find like maybe a super random, pretty decent club there every now and then, but it's like super few and far between.
Right.
But it's like second resale shops, like Play It Against Sports.
Secondhand stores. Where you go.
That's what I've heard, and I think
Facebook Marketplace. You can put together a pretty good kit.
That's what I've heard as well. Yeah. So I might end up going that route. My only hesitation is how tall I am, and like fitted clubs. Like I don't know.
Yeah. So like if you get anything that's like, so we can go over this. We don't have to get into this now, but like so you'll be fine with like standard length, and then once you like, if you think you're gonna start playing a lot more,
right,
then you can invest in something that is actually gonna be like custom fitted, because it's just not. Yeah. You're not gonna.
I know, but then I'm like, if my plan is to then invest, say next year, in a new set of clubs, because I do really like it this summer, and I'm gonna plan on having these clubs for a while, like mine, maybe just invest now. But I don't know. We can talk about it.
Yeah, I'll talk you out of it, 100%. But
I won't.
You do what you want.
I'm not gonna know what I want. Is that what you're gonna say?
No, I'm just saying if you had like standard length clubs versus like you're like you went and got fitted. Mm-hmm. You wouldn't the first year you go out, like regardless of whether you have good clubs or bad clubs, that's not going to change.
Oh, absolutely.
Your score. So that's not going to be the part that's going to be like, oh, well, now I want to invest in this now. That'll be like 3 years down the road where you're like, okay, now the clubs are affecting potentially of what I can and can't do. Mm, and so now I need to upgrade. And then like getting something fitted makes more sense.
Okay. We'll talk. But of course, ladies and gentlemen, this is not a golf podcast. This is a movie podcast where we talk. Not yet.
Hit me up.
Give me 6 months.
Masters week, baby.
Yeah. Oh God. Okay, that's one thing I don't think I could ever get into is watching golf. But
you'd be surprised.
Again, different. You're probably not wrong, but I don't see that happening. Either way, what I do like watching is movies. One movie in particular we're going to talk about here, Princess Mononoke. Nathaniel, if the listener here is new or maybe they've just forgotten, can you give them a rundown of how our review segment works?
What up, folks? What up, folks? The way the review segment works here on Back Row Banter is it is split into 2 sections. There's the non-spoiler section, and then there's the spoiler section. It's pretty self-explanatory. In the non-spoiler section, we'll go over the movie itself, who wrote it, who directed, who's in it, all that good stuff. We'll go around the squadron and decide if it is a yes or no, if we recommend it. Gotta be a yes or no. There is no nuance on the internet From then on, I'll play a spoiler noise. It'll be spoiler time if you don't have anything spoiled for you. Come back later on where we will have it. Our spoiler chat ends in the show notes. There we go. Got through that sentence. Then yeah, if you want to check back and see where it ranks up on our Entropy list, which is our big list of everything we've watched on the podcast ranked. Adam, tell me about Princess Mononoke.
I would love to. This is not a new movie, released in the year 1997, which Papa Schwartz was shocked to find out after walking out of our screening, just because of how good this movie looks. But yeah, 1997. This movie is older than I am, but not by much. Rated PG-13 with a runtime of 2 hours and 13 minutes and an IMDb rating of 8.3 out of 10. It is written and directed, of course, by the man, the myth, the legend, friend of the pod, Hayao Miyazaki. Cast includes, I'm going to go with the English voice cast because I don't know if many people would recognize the Japanese voice cast. And on top of that, there actually are some identifiable names here in the English, in the dub cast. Billy Crudup. I don't know if I'm doing that right. Crudup. Billy Bob Thornton, Minnie Driver, John DiMaggio, Claire Danes, John DeMita, and then Jada Pinkett Smith is here as well. Keith David makes an appearance. I'm trying to see if there's anyone else that maybe someone to recognize, but I think that's mostly it.
Gillian
the
Anderson.
IMDb summary. Who?
Sorry, Gillian Anderson. Did we say that?
I don't know if I did or not, but I believe you. I don't see her on my list.
I think she plays,
Gillian Anderson, you said?
Yeah, Moro.
Oh, I made. You know what? I stopped right before her name. Gillian Anderson. Cool. IMDb summary reads as follows: while seeking to cure himself of a curse, young warrior Ashitaka stumbles into a conflict between the people of Irontown and Princess Mononoke, a girl raised by wolves who will stop at nothing to prevent the destruction of her home. Pretty decent summary. This movie is very big in scope for the most part, but if you distill it down, I guess that's probably what you get. If I'm filling in the blanks a little bit for that summary, it's not super similar to these movies in the details, but the vibes, I should say, and somewhat of the genre. For me, I felt like it was Studio Ghibli anime, obviously. Lord of the Rings meets Lion King. Thoughts on does that clear? Does that check out for you guys?
Lord of the Rings meets Lion King.
Kind of see where I'm going with that a little bit, you know?
Yeah, I mean
just
a tad. Yeah, I see. Go ahead, Nathaniel.
You know?
I mean, I think it's definitely got huge scope.
Right.
Overall, for sure. And I think that's definitely where I can definitely see some of the Lord of the Rings vibes. Absolutely.
Yeah. It's a quest movie at the end of the day.
Certainly is that.
You know? We have a hero who is set off on a quest. And we got a lot of talking animals.
We got a beginning, we got a middle, and we got an end, guys.
Yeah,
okay?
we got a protagonist, we've got an antagonist.
we
got
got
the
a
Ring
movie.
of Sauron. Wait, what? Yeah. But anyway, this was technically my first watch, and I'll get to that in a second. But Nathaniel, your first watch as well, which surprised me a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
Like you said maybe your first watch.
I mean, yeah, I think
this life watch.
For simplistic reasons, I'm gonna for simplistic reasons, I'll go ahead and say it was my first watch, right? Because I can't recall much, but I'm confident I've seen at least pieces of this as a child. And then when I went back and saw it was 97, it's like that makes a lot of sense.
Sure.
I feel like I have seen pieces of this, but I would have never been able to recall that until I rewatched it.
For sure. Or understand any of the themes that are going on.
Sure. That's also another reason too, right? For sure. This is something I could have saw when I was 8. Do you know what I mean?
Right.
So, yeah, effectively first watch for me.
Okay. Tyler, definitely not yours
No.
But do you know how many times you've seen this?
I would say I've
too many
still
to
been
count?
able to count this on like both hands. This is still like probably 7,
Okay.
6 or 7. Yeah.
Okay. Do you recall your first watch, Ty? You're like our resident anime head, right? So we'll
I
let
was
you kinda deep dive.
probably somewhere in the realm of like 10 or 11.
Okay.
This came out when I was 7.
Right.
So didn't really catch it when I was 7, or like like I just said, I wouldn't have understood anything that was like
Sure.
really going on in here. The other thing too that probably more of like the anime people or like the Studio Ghibli people will know is out of all of these films, this is by far one of the more action focused / like gory kind of movies
Absolutely.
from the studio. So this one probably would have been a little harder for like a 7, 8, 9-year-old to consume. But once you see the opening scene to RoboCop, there's no going back.
Is that your canon event? Is that before and after RoboCop?
Yeah, once you see the opening scene of him just getting turned into fucking hamburger meat, it's game over.
Yeah.
Spoilers
Game
for
over,
RoboCop.
man.
Yeah, I was gonna say,
Game
right.
over.
Adam, side note, we're gonna tangent here. Have you seen RoboCop, Adam?
Yes.
Oh, okay. I got you. Yeah.
Funny enough, when the remake came out like a decade ago,
Yeah.
my dad was like, "Oh, we should go see that, but you should see the first one." And I was, I don't know, 12 or 13 at the time.
Classic
so we
dad
watched the
move, as you
original,
should.
but then never ended up seeing the remake. So I have seen the original RoboCop.
Okay,
I have
I
not
gotcha.
seen the remake though.
Good to know.
Yeah.
Ty.
But yeah, I would say probably 11, 12. And then just over the years has been one that I won't go back to very often, but when you do go back to it, it's a remarkable journey / film.
Absolutely. Yeah, this was, I say technically my first watch because I did originally. I've now seen this twice. I saw it 2 weeks ago in IMAX for the first time. Fantastic experience.
4K
This movie
IMAX.
in 4K IMAX because they did the re-release in 4K. I assume they're gonna do a disc release in 4K. But yeah, they re-released in IMAX. So I saw that as my first viewing, and then it had been a little bit. And this movie's pretty, dense, especially if you're doing the sub. So I went and rewatched on Monday in theaters as well. Not IMAX, but I was like, oh, I could just go see it. I could watch it at home again, or I could just go to the theater and use A-list. So I just did that.
Hell yeah.
And had a good time there. But this movie in IMAX, holy crap. Beautiful. Beautiful looking. The sounds, especially.
I was noticing the sound design on this movie in particular.
Sound design's crazy, and I was so not expecting it. So when the first like arrow is sent by how do you pronounce it? Ashitaka. When that first arrow is sent and it's like, and it's like, and it goes into like the zoom and it follows there a little bit. That like blew me away. I was like, whoa, what are we getting into here? And throughout the rest of the movie, every sword sound effect and arrow and everything sounded incredible.
For me, it was the Iron Town when they were hammering, like as they're kind of like walking through, and like there's all these people blacksmithing and stuff, and like I could see like so many times. I feel like in anime, you'll get those shots where like it'll be like a wide shot like that, and you'll just hear. You won't actually see any movement. It'll be a static shot, but there'll just be sound effects playing. But then like it was actually while I was watching it, I was like, oh, I am hearing audio design that is like dedicated to that person in this big scene that I'm seeing there as well too, which just felt like a real conscious step towards quality of the movie itself, kind of thing,
Yeah.
No, 100%. And I'm so like spoiled to have seen this in IMAX for a first time viewing because I just got the full scope of that immediately and to the highest degree. So, and I'm watching in the background. I have this on HBO Max, and it looks great still, but I can just tell immediately it's the second I turn this on. The 4K does make a difference, and it looks so good in theaters, and I can't wait for the 4K to be available on streaming or on DVD. underrated disadvantage or under spoken, or at least something I wasn't expecting of watching a sub anime movie in IMAX is you have to like physically move your eyes to read the subtitles because of how large the screen is. So I'm like watching the movie and I have to like physically like move, like, because you can often just kind of glance down or you get it out of the peripheral vision. My eyes were working because you have to just go back and forth, back and forth. So that was like the only downside of it. But again, still such an enjoyable movie. I really did enjoy this movie quite a bit. So much so that like it wasn't just that I wanted to like re-up on the movie for the podcast show. I was fresh on it. It was just like, wow, that was really good. Like I want to go through that again. Like I was just kind of taken aback by how like I hadn't gone out of my way to go watch this yet, because this is probably, when it comes to studio, is it Ghibli, Tyler? I've heard Ghibli a lot recently, and I'm going to start correcting how I say it.
Okay. Most people, I would say, are probably on the Ghibli train.
I'll switch the Ghibli train. But anyway, of those movies, like Spirited Away is always talked about, and then Howl's Moving Castle, and this is often 3 for me in terms of like the list of like, oh, Studio Ghibli or Ghibli. Like, have you seen this? It's usually Spirited Away, Howl's, and then it's Princess Mononoke. So I hadn't seen this, and I was kind of like, once I did see it, I was like, oh, that's why. And so I was very excited to go back and rewatch it again, and was kind of anxious to even go see it again in theaters with that 4K re-rendering of it. This is a very fun movie, and really like, it's a bit slow at times and it's a bit long, but again, just the breadth and the scope of the story from where you start to where you end, like sitting down again for that second viewing, I was like, oh wow, I can't even, you kind of just forget where you start with how much happens in the 2 hours.
I think that's kind of one of the things that's gonna like hurt animated films at some point, especially for people that have grown up or are so involved in the anime universe. Like, we're so used to like these 20-minute kind of like episodes and like so much happening in that time, where when we get into like a movie, it's like you almost forget, or you think the pacing is off or something like that, just because it is a movie and you're like, oh shit, I'm in here for 2.5 hours, even though it's an animated movie.
Yeah. And the story stuck out to me. We'll get this a little bit more in spoilers, but the story itself stuck out to me in terms of like the other Ghibli stuff that I have seen, in terms of its structure, and again, like as kind of Nathaniel mentioned, like the action and the gore kind of aspects of it too. Definitely stands out of everything of theirs that I've seen so far. But I am definitely recommend. I really enjoyed this movie. Very excited to talk about it in spoilers. But Nathaniel, I'm very curious to hear what you thought of the movie.
Yeah, I mean, this was definitely one that I had heard about. I definitely didn't hear about this as a kid. I was over while you were talking. I was pulling up animated films that came out in 1997, just as for a bit of context of like what was coming out around that time as well too. And the highest grossing films that year, number 1 was Hercules, Walt Disney, and then this was number 2, and then number 3 was Anastasia, the Fox one. And then actually down there, number 6, End of Evangelion. Heyo, shout out.
Heyo.
But yeah, this was one I definitely didn't like. I didn't experience it growing up. Didn't come across it, I think, until college at least. And yeah, it had always been on kind of like my list of like, I will definitely get to that at some point. And I have seen a couple of the Ghibli movies. I think they, it's a bit of an interesting relationship with them. That I think we did Boy in the Heron for the pod, didn't we? And we've done Spirited Away now as well too. I love Kiki's. And I've seen Grave of the Fireflies. But this was definitely which is very like adult. But this is definitely the one where I was like watching it and I was like, oh shit, like why haven't I seen or heard about this? Like why don't I hear this talked about as like big like fantasy epic movie circles? I think kind of like to what Adam was referring to earlier of that like kind of Lion King, Lord of the Rings crossover. Like it feels, of the Studio Ghibli movies I've seen, it feels like it has the most Western style story to it, where you have this kind of hero's quest going on that it kind of kicks off obviously the actions of the film, and like it does still kind of narratively follow that in comparison to something like a Howl's Moving Castle, which is just very odd. Like from a Western sense overall, like it does not follow the traditional arc of a narrative story for us. Or even like Boy and the Heron, way different, you know, as a movie structurally to this. And so yeah, I think in some ways that makes this movie one of the more accessible Studio Ghibli movies as well too. And yeah, I found myself enjoying it. I watched the sub on HBO Max. I did not see this in theaters. And I guess I had thought that this was one of the ones that got like kind of chopped up in the dub when it was coming over, but apparently this was the one that like after that had happened with, I think it was Nausicaa, the Valley of Wind. Like Miyazaki was like, no, you cannot make any edits to this at all when it came over. So
yeah, I saw that because this came across my feed of like. I think it was Harvey Weinstein picked up the distribution for it and said, hey, you got to cut this down to a more marketable 90 minutes for Western audiences. And Miyazaki said, nope. And there was a bit of a tussle. And then he just said, I'm not touching the runtime. Suck it. And it stayed. And I think I forgot what the quote was that I saw in the thing that popped up on my feed, but I think he was like, I defeated him or something like that, or I took down him or something along those lines. So more power to you, Miyazaki. That's awesome.
Didn't go far enough. Probably should have killed him.
Probably.
I was going to say, well, first and foremost, none of us like
do I need to cut
Harvey Weinstein, right? So fuck Harvey Weinstein. Or as the meme go, right? Like me and all my homies hate Harvey Weinstein.
Yeah, facts.
But yeah, Nathaniel, are you still rolling here? Or
no, I mean that was pretty much it. I'm definitely a recommend for sure. Like, feel free to like obviously hop in, boys. I think for me, I found this a really great like epic story told over, you know, like at its own pace. I think it's a quiet movie. I didn't necessarily ever feel like it drug. Like I feel like it's slow in parts, but it's like it's purposeful in its slowness. It's not just slow because it's like been edited poorly or something like that. Right.
Yep.
So yeah, I'm definitely a recommend. I don't know where I would rank it on my Ghiblis if I had to at this point, but maybe we'll see over time. Blake?
Yeah, I'll kind of close this out here before we get to spoilers, which I guess would make sense because I'm probably the least anime knowledgeable, right, of the entire group here. So
all opinions are valid, Blake.
That's very true, man. Thank you. I'll kind of echo Nathaniel here, though. So like, I did not see it in theater, so I did watch the subbed version on HBO Max. Or on Max, I guess I should say. That being said, it was interesting when I came across it and watching the dubbed version on Max. There were some voice acting. I was like, I definitely know who that is, right? And then like finally I went and looked at it afterwards. So Billy Bob Thornton, right? I was able to tell that was him. I did piece together Jada Pinkett Smith, and then I did piece together Keith David as narrator. Obviously, like one of those A-list voices, right? So anytime you hear Keith David, I instantly know who it is. So that was interesting. What first brought me back to maybe I've seen this before was honestly the opening scene of this, and I don't want to spoil it, I guess, but where they have like the demon thing on like a boar or some sort of pig animal, and I was
curse,
like,
yeah.
I've definitely seen this shit before, right? So like that's like immediately when it hit me, and then obviously as you watch it, I'm taking it on in a new light, right? Watching it as an adult, but that was kind of the first thing I was like, I feel like I've seen pieces of this before. That being said, though, awesome. The cinematography on all of this is, as expected, is top notch. And Adam brought up the original or the those first few shots of the arrow, and you basically get like a POV of the arrow. You get a POV of Ashitaka riding the actual, I don't know what the fucking four-legged quadruped animal we want to call it.
We can call it an elk, I think.
An elk. Okay.
Yeah, I don't think they ever give it a name outside of that.
Yeah,
So.
I don't think so either. But you get a POV of like him writing that one time, and it's like they kick you off in that immediately, and it's so captivating. And then the gore hit me too, and I was like, ooh. Yeah, I don't know if I remember that when I was little. So there were some of you pieces, but yeah, it's like instantly shoots arrow, and like the guy's fucking both his arms just fall off, and I was like, I'm fucking with this heavy.
I know. It is almost a double take moment. Like, what? Wait,
because there's not really any blood.
This was a kind of
just
movie.
Pop off, like
right? Oh yeah,
and then you just see like kind of like
excessive
in the middle, very cartoony, right?
Yeah, it's not excessive at all, but it is kind of just like your
jarring.
jaw drops for a second.
Yeah,
like, it's very jarring because you're not expecting, and obviously neither is Ashitaka. He doesn't know he has this capability. He didn't mean to take his arms off.
Yeah,
but you're kind of just like, holy crap. No, but it's a damn near 30-year-old movie. I'm sorry if us talking about arrows is upsetting you.
Yeah, no worries.
Sorry,
but yeah, so that no worries, man. But yeah, that caught me off guard as well as kind of the headshot that ultimately follows right after that. And I was like, you know what? I think I'm in for this a little more than perhaps other studio Ghibli films that maybe aren't as, I don't want to say horror adjacent. That sounds kind of a lazy take, right? But that may not have some of the adult themes that aren't necessarily situated around dialogue and like circumstances of character, but that are very abrupt and in your face.
Yeah, I don't think this is
a lot
kid's
of them
movie.
don't have that.
Like I don't think I think a kid can watch it, but it's not aimed at a kid for the audience member, at all.
No, it is not.
You truly appreciate this movie the older you get, especially from like a person that's appreciated anime.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely, those are all at points I'd echo. So I mean, yeah, overall, I mean, just from immediately, I was in character development. Everything else is on point, as you could imagine. Cinematography on point, as you could imagine. But yeah, we'll kind of jump into spoilers here. And honestly, I'm more interested in hearing like you guys kind of chat about this. I know I get very chatty when we're doing horror things, but obviously, I like hearing the fellas talk about things they're deeply fond of as well. So ultimately, I would recommend. So that's going to put us at 4 recommends. I would push this over to anybody, even if you're not a anime head, quote unquote. I think it's something you could take away from this. If you haven't already heard of it, it is a very, 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 very popular film.
Blake, really quick before we get into spoilers, of all like the anime movies that we've done on this podcast, or just ones you've seen, like how, you don't have to give me a number necessarily, but like how highly does this rank for you? Like, does it kind of approach the top, especially compared to like Spirited Away? I think my Spirited Away and Boy and the Heron are the only 2 Ghibli films we've done on the pod. So I don't know if you've seen others outside of that, but like how high is this for you?
Well, we have like Lettering with you on here, and
but that's not.
I know they're not Ghibli, but they're anime films.
Right.
Redline, come on.
Redline is dope though, and I do like Redline because it kind of fits my like car niche that I have. But yeah, ultimately, Adam, I think I may want to save that for once we start ranking it. Okay. Where there are ultimately 2 films that we have on here that I would say I would ultimately put higher, but obviously we know the nature of the Entropy list, and I try to do my best to not look at the Entropy list before I rank it immediately. So we know how those things can play out. I may actually end up having this higher than the films I'm thinking of once I look at the Entropy list and see where they lie.
Okay, fair enough. All right. Well, I think that's recommends all around. So
yeah, sorry, I don't want to add on. What did Papa Schwartz think about it, other than he said it looked really good for a movie from 97? Obviously, 4K and the IMAX helps a little bit, but
yeah, no, he enjoyed it. He didn't say much beyond that, to be honest. But he did like it. Was a little also taken aback, I think, by the gore too, but most of his takeaway was kind of from the animation, the sound and stuff like that. But yeah, we didn't chat too much about this, so there wasn't a big in-depth conversation. The other thing he said too was like these anime movies always have such wild stories or like wild storylines too, and I'm like, yeah, but that's kind of like the fun of it. Like you get to see stuff outside of your normal culture or stories told in ways that you're not used to. Which he agreed with, and but yeah, he definitely had a good time with it.
All right.
Yeah,
love to hear it.
Yes, sir. All right, but with all that being said, we're gonna go ahead and head into spoilers. So if you've not seen Princess Mononoke and do not want it spoiled for you, go ahead and check the episode description. We've up to timestamp you can jump to, where you'll be taken to the ranking of the movie up upon our Entropy list. What you got for us this week, Danny?
Oh, there's this crowd that just showed up is just applauding us. They're just really excited about the movie. They would agreed with our takes of 4 recommends, so they were just applauding us there for a bit. But now we're in spoilers, and shit goes down. I mean, it's pretty much from the jump, as kind of I think Adam alluded to a little bit earlier. Like that demon boar shows up, and then it's like, all right, we're off to the races.
Yeah, there's no setup. It's just, here's your quest, dude. Get out of here. We can't even watch you go. It's like, oh shit. Okay. And they got this long monologue of like our future leader is supposed to protect us. He's called to the west or whatever. They're just like, see ya, dog. And then we're off, and we've got this beautiful score backing us up. Of him riding the elk, which has a name. Maybe we should just refer to it.
What was it? Yeah,
I think he has a name.
Yukal?
Yeah, it's something like that. But he's riding that, and it's like the mountains in the background.
Oh yeah, that part was awesome.
Very beautiful. Yeah, very beautiful shot. So, and that's where I'm like, dude, this is just all right. Lord of the Rings type beat, Green Knight, hero's journey quest type thing. It's like, this is just not what I was expecting out of this movie. Like, but I'm here for it, absolutely. And that's before we even get to, as we talked about, before we even get to the arms getting ripped off and the decapitation from the arrows. So I was already on board when I saw that, side-scrolling shot of him riding past the mountains. I was like, this feels epic. And dude, it was, man. Like the scope of the story is awesome. It kind of just, as Nathaniel says, it picks up right away. It just keeps going. Slows down obviously towards kind of the middle half of it, but that I'm so on board for this and was very, very quickly into this movie.
Yeah, I think the opening scene with the boar gets a lot of praise pretty consistently. That's where you obviously get kind of like your first glimpse at like the typical Miyazaki kind of art style animation, with the black kind of like demonized worms coming out of the boar and everything like that, and then you get that you get the shot where he's riding through the forest very briefly, kind of on an upward slant, and you see like how the shadows from the trees are playing on him. It's like super short. It's like maybe like 5 seconds, if that, of him riding uphill. But yeah, it's that's where you kind of just get an idea of like, all right, cool. This is like, you're in for a treat versus, just like your typical animated stuff.
Right. Yeah, I think I'm spoiled having seen this in IMAX in 4K
for sure
for my first viewing.
It still looks incredible.
Yeah, like I said, I've got it on. Yeah, I've got it on Max, and it still does look great. I am a little disappointed that none of you guys got to the theater, because I do think you guys would have.
I think there's another showing that's coming out. Like,
there's still
a week and a half or something like that on like the 20th. I think they're doing something. So
it got kicked out of IMAX for Minecraft, and I don't know if it's gonna get back in. I think it was only in IMAX for like one weekend, but you can still find regular digital screenings of it. They are becoming more rare as I'm looking at AMC app, so I would catch it this weekend because it's very thin afterwards. But I mean, it looks great in 4K, but even on Max it looks great. And just the fact that this movie came out in 97 and it looks like it could have come out, if this thing came out last year, I would have told you this is some of the best animation I've ever seen, because it still is. Like it really does look that good.
Yeah, it's
you go ahead. Nope. Go ahead. Don't fight me on it. Go.
For me, I found again, I before the spoiler break, I talked a bit about how like I found this more accessible than a lot of the other ones, and maybe it's just because I've been watching more anime at this point. But like this one being set in like kind of Japanese history, but in a time when like the nature gods were just more prevalent and could kind of show up and everything. I don't know. It helped me. It helped center me a lot more than I feel like a lot of other anime movies we've watched in the past do in some ways. And I feel like it made a little bit more sense with kind of like even just like the way that they broke it up of like, oh, that like there's the deer god and he is like the lord of all beasts basically, but then there's like the boar woods and like the deer woods and like there's these different kind of territories that they're talking about and stuff. And like how that like kind of just again flows very naturally in with like where your sympathies are as an audience. Like at no point does it like let you off the hook with like the Iron Town where you see all the good things that the lady is doing for the people there, but at the same time you are immediately aware of like how it is negatively impacting the earth and obviously the nature around it and everything like that. And it's just such a, I don't know, it's just a well-made fucking movie. Like what are you gonna say?
Yeah. No, yeah, you're really kind of like you kind of hit the nail on the head there. Like at the end of the day, the bottom kind of theme of this movie is, you know, like humans versus nature, and kind of how those things have an impact on one another. So yeah, it's I mean you hit the nail on the head. One of the cool things in the movie that kind of it's like one of those backseat things that just kind of pokes at this theme constantly. The little white guys that are walking around the forest all the time. So those are called, I think they're like Kodama or something like that. And those are essentially forest, like spirit, like folklore, Japanese
like
folklore.
Sprites.
Yeah.
Kind of, yeah. They're spirits that live in the trees in the forest. And it's a sign of a healthy forest. And so throughout the movie, you see them dwindle because, you know, the nature portion of it is kind of just, you know, getting killed.
Yeah.
Or just kind of slowly disappearing. So yeah, that's like one of the cool things that it's like, that's how like deep seated you see like those things in like real films. They're always kind of in the background. You don't see them until like your, you know, fourth, fifth viewing. And so it's definitely one of those things where like that's how deep on a different level this movie is, even though it's still an animated film.
Yeah, another big kind of like point of difference I found for me on my viewing experience was and kind of like how again it like makes that contrast between what I would say is like the Western epic or so was like that moment where Ashitaka is in Irontown and like has met with, I think he's met with Lady Eboshi, who's like for people who are listening who didn't listen to the spoiler text, she's like the main leader of the Irontown there or whatever. But he then like goes back to the Bellows and wants to work with the women of the town kind of thing and experience like their life and everything. And I was really struck in that moment of how that would play out differently. I feel like in a classic Hollywood movie or something like that, where the hero would in some way like come in and like either rescue them or like have a solution that's going to make their lives immediately better, whereas like he sticks out in this thing of like, no, I want to know what you go through and what your work is like before he kind of makes this judgment or this kind of like before he has all a better understanding kind of thing. I was just again moment where I was like watching the movie where I was like, oh, like Miyazaki like does not let anything happen by accident.
No, it does not. Another thing that stuck out to me is, and this is true throughout of all of the Ghibli films, pretty much, and a lot of non-Western films, even or like anime films that I've seen. but this one stood out to me in particular. Like the hero kind of inserts himself in the middle of the conflict and is not necessarily on either side of it.
Sure.
And it gives you such a great, balance of the two, and you can see kind of the both sides of it, and kind of the gray areas in between. Obviously, I think this film kind of leans towards the side of the nature and the animals and whatnot. But in terms of like your perspective and your viewpoint from the protagonist, from Ashitaka, like he is placed in the middle of this. He's a neutral party, and that again, that's the kind of a trend across a lot of anime films, especially Ghibli films. But this one really stood out to me. And we're like, wow, it is kind of such like a hilarious saying breath of fresh air for like a almost 30-year-old movie.
Yeah.
But like it is so interesting to see that compared to Western movies where it always seems to be kind of one side or the other. And it's like, hey, like here's, a story where you're gonna see both sides. And see more than one perspective, and you're gonna have to hold those perspectives and your kind of feelings towards these characters. You're gonna have to hold them together at the same time, which can cause some cognitive dissonance a little bit, where like you're kind of going back and forth for which side you're rooting for, kind of. Very just interesting way to tell the story that again you wouldn't really see in most Western films.
Yeah, it is wild, right? Because you are human, so inherently you want to be successful in the movie. You want the humans to be successful and advance and do all those cool things with guns and flint and
oh yeah, man,
and iron but on the other hand, you constantly have this thing where like nature isn't inherently bad or evil. Like typically you would think that most things that happen in nature, even like supernatural stuff that happens in nature, whether it's like tsunamis or hurricanes, like that's like the earth just trying to like essentially protect itself from something else that's going on. So yeah, you constantly go over this battle of like wanting nature to win because it's not inherently evil, but you're a human, so you're like, well, we need to advance.
Absolutely.
Blake, what are you feeling, bud?
Yeah, I mean, those are all good points and kind of what everyone's saying here. So, like I said, I always enjoy hear you all kind of go on these deep dives, right, and comparative analysis to other films. I guess things like I would want to look at is just like broad picture, right, in terms of like, how do you all feel about this compared to other Studio Ghibli films? Like Adam asked me that, but with Nathaniel, you said I think you first came across this in college. Per se, like how do you feel about this, or Ty, how do you feel about this having seen this as a child compared to your Spirited Away, compared to anything else I guess we've done in comparison? Like does this have more sentiment for you because you've seen it at a young age and it's dated with you, or like how do you guys feel about that?
I think like just given how many I've seen, like some of the other ones, I think this is still probably in like, I don't know, probably like top 10 for me.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think it's like pushing like top 3 or anything like that. Spirited Away is like super goated.
Yeah, that's probably their biggest classic, right? Like that's a film even I was aware of.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, that movie's crazy. And then you have like other ones like Totoro, Howl's Moving Castle, Kiki's, like Boy and the Heron is still like super, super good.
Yeah.
What else? There's Ponyo, which got like super highly rated when it came out. And then another one that I think that goes pretty high for me is Nausicaa.
Yeah. The first one.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think I don't know. I think this one has potential to get up pretty high for me overall. I think there's a lot about this that like it just plays really well to my like inherent personal tastes and enjoyments and that kind of thing. I think the storyline overall is really interesting and engaging. So many of the characters, I found myself so often being like, oh, like this dude's awesome, or like the monkeys when you first see them and they're those weird black shapes with those red eyes. I was like, that's perfect. That's how I want like mystical monkey god creatures to be. Like that's incredible. Yeah, give me more.
Did any of you guys watch the sub, or did you guys all do dub?
I watched the sub.
I did dub on Max.
I watched the sub.
You watched it? you watch the sub when the sub voice acting for
for
both
the monkeys,
wolves too, but the monkeys too. They're like
It's
like
it's awesome.
It's like deep, like guttural monk tones almost of talking. It's so good, so good.
I like the pigs too. Like I liked it all. The characterization of like when someone like when the nature god becomes a demon too, with like the weird wriggly like things, that was like so well, I feel like, captured and brought to life. We talked earlier again about like the action already, but like some of the best looking like animated action I feel like I've seen ever, which is again going to be like a Studio Ghibli, mainstay, right?
Right. But impressive that, I mean, this is from fucking 97.
Yeah, obviously.
Right? It's like, that's like the catch to it. You know what I mean? Where you're like,
yeah,
oh, of course
100%.
it look good. It's a Studio Ghibli film.
100%.
Holy shit, it's 30 years old.
Yeah, and I mean, again, I would be interested, like, if we like went like on a technical standpoint with like that Disney's Hercules, right, at that point, and see like where they were to each other, like what the differences would be.
Yeah, I saw that at 7 for sure.
Sure. Yeah.
That was like my all-time like top tier Disney movie as a kid.
But yeah, I think great design, great character, just like even how like people move and stuff. There was like a moment, I think, where Ashitaka, like, he like goes down like a riverbed and like puts the bow like around his neck kind of thing, but like slips the bowstring or under like his chin kind of thing. And I was just like, what a weird but like very natural seeming motion for him to make in that moment and stuff. And it's just, again, the craft on this thing is insane, I feel like.
Yeah, 100%. It's classic hand drawn, like, just painstakingly done to like the top tier of what Studio Ghibli was fucking built on. It's just, you won't find movies like this. Is like the definition of like what we would call like a practical effects in like a live action film. Like these are gonna age so well. Clearly they can be put into 4K IMAX format relatively easily, and look even better than what they still currently look like. And yeah, these things are gonna be timeless.
And I respect that it has the balls to be like at the end, it's like, yeah, I love you, but I will not forgive humanity. Deuces.
Yeah. And then one of the other things too, I always got to compliment on animated stuff is elements, like the like water scene where she takes him in to go meet, the
like, very clear pool kind of thing.
Yeah, it's almost like you can't even see it until like they're actually like you can see like where it touches them on like the shoulder level. And so like water's done very well. Even like the fire in like the explosions from like the guns, and all this stuff, like the wood exploding on the roof when they're shooting at Princess Mononoke, like so good.
Also, you got to shout out the design of the deer god, which is going to haunt me.
I was about to mention that.
Super cool, but like super creepy.
It is uncanny. I don't know how you get uncanny valley in like the style of animation, but it's as close as you can get.
It really nails that thing where you're like, oh, that's a beautiful creature, but like it would kill me without a second thought. And like it's like nature element of like it is very dangerous as well too.
Right.
Yeah. It's the imagery in this is awesome. And sometimes it's very gory, sometimes it's very eerie, sometimes it's very creepy. So it's really hard to kind of pick up a gauge on it, but it's all reasons where you're like, oh, like I like this because like this is not even like remotely for kids. Right. Even though it is animated per se. All right. And obviously we're knowledgeable enough that we know that not all animated films are for children, right? But this is one where it's like, oh shit, like this is actually really not for kids at all, right? Like you got fucking heads flying off, limbs flying off.
Yeah, this is
fucking creatures, demons. It's interesting.
This is an adult artist working in their preferred medium, which just happens to be animated film kind of thing.
For sure.
Which we're all eternally grateful for.
Absolutely.
Yeah, right.
And now, since this came back on theaters, we have currently had dire wolves hit the world again, hit the earth again. So full circle.
Yeah.
Am I missing something on this?
There were some wolves that were mixed with dire wolf DNA.
Oh, wow.
And so now they're like dire wolf puppies.
They Jurassic Park dire wolves.
I was gonna say I'm sure that's gonna go exactly how we planned, right?
100%.
Hey, honestly, dude, that's not the worst thing that's happened in the last 24 hours or like the last week. So whatever.
Yeah, which
honestly, worst things in the world going on. So
yeah, I was gonna say
let's just start bringing back extinct creatures and just fucking putting the DNA right inside of live shit. You know what I mean?
As far as
See where it
like
goes.
apocalyptic scenarios goes, one where like extinct creatures come back and take us out is genuinely like top 3.
How poetic
for me. Yeah, that's up there. There's some karmic justice in there. I'd really feel good about that.
That is top 3 for sure. I would feel great about that. That's fine.
I mean, number one's
again,
like
who you gonna be mad at? It's our fault. We did it.
Like number one's kind of
Jeff
like
Bezos.
is the Evangelion goo scenario.
I was about to say that's up there.
Number 2 is
Genuinely not a bad way to go out.
Number 2 is probably a asteroid. You know, just getting an old asteroid right to the dome and just
See, I disagree because the chances of an asteroid landing on you or in your vicinity to take you out instantly are very, very low relatively. The chances of you having to live through a nuclear winter and starve to death much higher.
Just give me like
What about just like a large celestial being that just like, you know what I mean? You just see the fucking shadow. You look up in the sky, and it's just like a hand just grab
It's
her.
all over.
Yeah, I mean that would slot into number 2 as well too. I'd say. That's like because that's like again, there's something comforting about that because it's proof that like there is something else out there, right? You're not alone. There is this giant celestial being, even if it's gonna eat me. That's cool.
Yeah.
Right.
So that's number 2. I'd say still. 3 would be we bring back a de-extinct species, and it just takes our ass out.
Okay.
Cool.
I think zombie apocalypse is still up there for me.
It's bottom of my list.
I know how
that sounds
terrible.
horrible.
I know. It would be the worst thing ever. But like, I think I've just like read so many comic books and watched so much material on it, and like have just like fantasized about a zombie apocalypse for so long that it would just have to be like one of my like top ways to see how the world ends.
Sure. What's that's valid, Ty, but what's even more fucking crazy about that is at one point in time, if you go back roughly about 5 years ago to the T, there was somebody out there who thought like this might actually be the end of the world.
Yeah.
Right. Maybe go back five years and a few weeks where COVID first started, and you looked out your window, and there was like no one driving down the street, and you're like, I don't know, man.
Dude,
What a time, right?
What a time. I want to get off this tangent, but I will never forget when COVID hit, and I was still, this is like right when COVID hit, we were getting sent home, and it was the time between classes were canceled and they told everyone to GTFO, and my dad coming to pick me up. I was still living in the dorms, and the only thing open on campus was Starbucks. So I would walk from my dorm to Starbucks across campus and use my meal card because it was like, I can't use this money anymore. So I just swipe my meal card. But like the walk over there, straight out of a movie, like just like shit blowing down the sidewalk. No one like didn't see a soul.
28 days later.
Like full 28 days later, and I never thought I'd see that in my entire life. But it was straight out of a movie. Those walks were surreal.
Yeah,
you did not see anybody. Okay, let's get back on topic really quick though, because we can start wrapping up spoiler talk here really quick. To get back to your question though, Blake, because I don't think I ever fully answered. In terms of Ghibli rankings, I've already thought about this. I'm comfortable slotting this in at 2, right behind Spirited Away. I like this better than Boy and the Heron. Like it better than Howl's. I've seen most of Ponyo, and I've seen Grave of the Fireflies in high school. I need like a rewatch of that to give a firm answer there. But right now I can confidently put this at 2. Like I think I just Spirited Away clears this for sure, but like I really had a good time in this movie and identify with the story a lot, and it's a fun story that I really wasn't expecting. So yeah, I'm comfortable slotting this at
a little
2.
high, but you're just not educated, and that's okay.
What am I missing?
I'm kidding.
I was saying, sounds like Ty's got some Rex though, man. We can.
Yeah, I mean,
we got all the time in the world, fellas.
I am not going to pretend like I've seen every Ghibli film.
No, that's like the best part. It's like your opinion. I don't care. Like it's a good opinion too. This is not a bad movie. This is this is one of the greatest movies that ever came out of that studio. I'm just giving you shit.
Well, either way. Yeah, that's where I stand. I'm at 2 in my Ghibli rankings. So yeah,
it's good, man. Are you gonna is anybody else ever gonna get like anime tattoos? Nathaniel's probably the closest.
I don't know if I would go anime tattoo. I think before that, I've been close to getting a xenomorph tattoo probably the past like 6 years. But I haven't got a tattoo since like 2016. So I think unfortunately I've like passed that stage of my life. You know what I mean? But I don't know.
We'll get you back on the track.
I'm sure I will wake up one day in like 2033 and like, you know what? Fuck it. I'm going to do it. But yeah, I have, that's been a thought I've had like since college. So I did kind of want some sort of xenomorph alien tattoo.
Well, keep room for our matching Back Row Banter tattoos. Design pending.
It's gonna be the straight cover art of the pod.
It's our faces, actually. Yeah, it's just
down your forearm.
Everyone gets the face of the guy to the left on the poster. So I'll get Nathaniel. Right. Tyler gets Blake.
That's funny.
I'm down.
No, I have made somewhat of a commitment to. I kind of want my first tattoo by the end of the year, but I haven't decided on it yet. So don't ask. But I'm open to anime tattoos, Ty, to answer your question.
Let me know. Let's talk.
I'd like to get the Nerve logo, I think.
You've talked about that, and I do like that a lot. Yeah, that's a cool one. I'd be inclined to find an Evangelion tattoo at some point, I'm sure.
I want you to get it like on your fucking neck or something like that, though.
Me?
Yeah, no, nothing.
Yeah, Nathaniel right there.
Top of my foot.
Maybe we should do like the throat tattoo. Like just right in, right there.
Just a big old fucking AT field. Just
fucking raw.
Oh jeez. All right. Well, any other Mononoke thoughts, boys?
No, man. Another banger from Studio Ghibli and Miyazaki. Miyazaki. Yeah. Just phenomenal. You'll never change my mind.
Did it throw you off, Adam? The mother wolf having a male voice?
Yeah. Did not. It honestly didn't click that was like mother wolf fully. I until like my second screening where I was like,
sure.
Oh, that's a mother. That's a mother. Okay, for sure. I don't know how it is in the dub, so I can't speak to that.
Well, it's Gillian Anderson, so it is not.
Okay, so yeah, probably not. But yeah, a little jarring for a second. But I also like love the voice acting of it. So like regardless of it, being
well, I was reading
the
IMDb trivia said that like in Japanese mythology, all dogs are voiced by boys and all cats are voiced by girls, regardless of sex, basically. So. Yeah, I don't know.
America,
I think it's just
America,
like a cultural.
If something's called a mother, it stays a woman's voice.
Right, yeah.
So we had to change it.
It's kind of like their version of all dogs go to heaven, I think.
Once you said all dogs, I was like, literally in my head, I was like, go to heaven.
Or like all boats are girls. It's that, but for dogs.
Yeah.
Dogs and cats.
I mean, that's true. That is true.
Like we say that too, though. Like we say like all dogs are boys, like thing. I feel like I've heard that anecdotally among like dog lover parents. I don't know.
I just call all dogs Doges. I'm like, oh, look at that Doge.
Can't say that anymore.
Well, I've been told a lot through my life that I can't say certain things anymore, and I still find a way to say them. So I'm gonna keep doing me.
Sorry, allow me to reiterate.
Cancel culture is not real, fellas.
Stay woke.
Allow me to reiterate.
Yeah, right.
Saying that just puts you in a different version of an annoying conversation. No one's going to stop you from saying it, but there are some always unintended consequences of bringing it up.
Well, not my problem, I guess.
Hilarious. All right, fellas, are we ready to rank?
Put her up there, bud.
Let's do it. All right. Welcome back, listeners who skipped over the spoiler segment of the podcast. We're going to go ahead and throw up Princess Mononoke up upon our Entropy list. For those of you who do not know, the Entropy list is Back Row Banter's official list of all the movies we have reviewed, regardless of genre, regardless of anything else, all on one fantastic list. This is essentially how we rate our movies, rather than do it out of 5 stars, out of 10, whatever it is. We throw up all the movies we review on a list and see how they compare to one another. If you want to reference the Entropy list for yourself, you can do so by checking the episode description, where it is linked to my Letterboxd.
How are we feeling, gang?
Entry 229 on the Entropy list at the bottom, of course, is none other than Borderlands. At the top, of course, is Dune Part 2.
Things that make you go,
I don't even like hearing the name Borderlands, fellas.
Well, the games are incredible. So I would
that's true.
Yeah. For reference, in case you're wondering, where is Spirited Away? Spirited Away
57
at 57. Boy and the Heron,
74.
I believe, not too far behind.
74.
74.
Suzume's in the middle at 69.
Yes. We have Your Name. Your Name stays up there at 16.
Dude, we've got so many good movies on here. It's like actually
so many. I kept scrolling. I was like, no way Spirited Away is this low. No, it's that low. It probably should be higher, looking at like Alien Romulus. I'm sorry, but
yeah, I do think that's one we
That's got you got 3 people that have a ton of nostalgia with an alien related movie, especially one that was done as well as Romulus was. Obviously it has its flaws, but it still stayed so true to the originals, and for it being like slotted in between the first and the second one is like they did such a good job. So
listen, I'm not gonna
thanks for cleaning that up, Ty, though. You did talk me back from the ledge on that. That's
I'll advocate for that movie all day.
Okay.
I think I'm Spirited Away.
I think I got a spot.
Well, that's you guys put Spirited Away so low, not me. That's not me.
That's not me.
Liar.
This is the Spider-Man meme.
Go ahead, Nathaniel.
I think I'm gonna go 67. Below Nope, above Gone Girl.
Okay.
So like
that.
Suzume was my barometer. I like this more than Suzume. But I feel like there's some parts of this that I think Suzume takes from this, like the Nightwalker kind of like end whole thing, and like the whole like kind of bit of nature. Like I feel like there's some influence there on Suzume and that kind of thing.
Hard not to see that, especially after the end sequence. Really.
Yeah, exactly. I think Boy and the Heron will be one that again changes with time. We'll see how that one kind of ages, but I feel comfortable slotting this above that. Spirited Away and this one for me, I don't know. I haven't seen Spirited Away as much as Tyler has, so for me, my big like nostalgia, huge Studio Ghibli one is Kiki's Delivery Service. That being said, I still think this one I'd give the benefit of the doubt to Spirited Away, right? Just from like kind of how everyone else feels about it, and I don't know how I'll feel about this one. But Nope was my deal breaker. I think there could be a couple things that maybe I would put this above that are above it, like No Way Home, Spider-Man, or Black Hawk Down.
Sure.
Those are kind of those what I'd say would be like borderlines. But Nope, I love that movie. I think this fits in well with that kind of run there. Above Gone Girl, above Gone Girl, above Civil War, above 1917, but just maybe a little bit less than like OG John Wick and Nope as well too. So yeah, that's where I got it. 67.
Yeah, that's solid ranking, brother. Solid ranking, brother. And honestly, that's awfully close to where I'm at. So just kind of thinking out loud here. I hear all your sentiments of Suzume pulling a lot from this film and inspiration.
Sure.
So I think that may do enough to potentially change kind of what I was thinking. But originally, I was thinking, hey, that's probably my cap.
Sure.
And I do like this more than The Boy and the Heron. So I was like, I think I'm falling in that realm, that 70, 71, 72, 73. There are some ones that I would like to ultimately put above this, like American Psycho and Boys in the Hood.
Sure.
I think I would like to put above this, but obviously we know how the entropy list falls. I don't think I can do that. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to call it. I'm going to split the middle between Suzume and The Boy and the Herring. A movie I love a ton is between both of those films, and I think we all know what that is if you're looking at the list. So I'm going to go ahead and put it. Yeah, you're sick.
I was a brother.
72. So I'm gonna go 72. So it'll be below Scream and above, as Tyler's point, my favorite film of all time. Zac Efron's The Iron Claw.
I was a brother once.
No,
that movie's actually not bad though. Like all jokes aside,
it's a good. It's a really good.
It was a
movie.
good going in blind.
I enjoy it. All right, Ty, time to like skew the scales. Are we shooting this to the moon or what?
No, just because Spirited Away is capped.
I'm with you there. That's my cap too, obviously.
No, if Spirit in a perfect world, Spirited Away is higher, which inherently pushes this higher because this does follow pretty close behind it, in my opinion.
Yeah.
There are like Studio Ghibli films for me are like Formula One races. Like when they qualify, like everything is like a 100th of a second off of each other. Like they're so close together that it's just like they're all so high level. So even though
that's a great analogy, by the way.
Thank you. Even though I have my own personal list, like of all my Ghibli films. It will just fall pretty close to this, just because I don't have anything else that I can put in here. But Tropic Thunder, we talked about just being like one of the like top tier comedies of our generation. So it's hard for me to maybe like put this above that, even though I do think like critically or whatever, this is obviously a better film. You will take better themes away from this, but they're both top tier films in their own respective ways. So I still will put this above that, just because I think this is also better than It Follows. I don't really like It Follows is one of those movies that's still good, but it kind of falls to the wayside for me. It's definitely, there's other horror movies that I'm going to watch before I go back to It Follows. So I will put this at 58. This will go directly under Spirited Away for me. As lame as that sounds,
it's not lame at all.
Yeah, no, you got the rationale to back it up. So you're at 58, slotting it right below Spirited Away that you're comparing it to. For listeners, so that's above It Follows, above Tropic Thunder, unironically below Romulus and 28 Days Later, and above Adam's third favorite movie of all time, Spider-Man: No Way Home.
It is up there. I do like that movie quite a bit.
So Adam, floor is yours, man.
Yeah, I think in an ideal world, Spirited Away is higher on like a personal entry list, and then I can also make this higher. But it's tough, ultimately. And I'm okay just keeping Spirited Away as like my cap. So I am right there with you, Ty, where I'm like, I can't really put this too much further below. I do like this more than It Follows. Tropic Thunder is kind of a toss-up for me between these two. But then I would put this above No Way Home, funny enough. Above Black Hawk Down, above Nosferatu. So like I'm comfortable also riding the tie at 58, I think. I think putting that right next to Spirited Away makes a lot of sense for me in my head. If they can't both be higher, then might as well keep them both as high as I can. So, yeah, lock that in at 58. Gives us an average ranking of 63.75, meaning we'll put it below The Conjuring, above Long Legs.
Yeah, we'll break up a little of that horror section.
Yeah.
Nosferatu, The Conjuring,
for it,
Long
I
Legs.
feel like.
Yeah, that's solid.
Good spot. I'm not gonna complain at all. Cool. 64. Princess Mononoke, locked and loaded. All right. With all that being said, that's going to be it for our review segment for this week. Our next review segment next week will be on a movie called Warfare. Yeah, that's right. New movie review. I don't know. I need to find out what is Alex Garland's involvement in this. He doesn't direct. I don't think. I think he said he's done directing.
We'll see.
Oh, he's co-directing with Ray Mendoza, and also co-writing with Ray Mendoza. So somewhat directing here, it seems. But yeah, go check this out. This is in theaters starting the 11th, which is Friday. And then you can join us for a review of that next week. All right. What we're watching, fellas. Nathaniel, I need to talk to you about something.
What was that, Adam?
Yeah, I think you know what I'm gonna talk about.
Yeah, I might have a feeling.
The Minecraft movie.
Yep. What about it?
Absolutely electric. Absolutely mind-boggling viewing experience. Tell me what happened in your theater.
So yeah, I mean, people. It was. Let's see. I saw it on Sunday night. At like 7:00. I honestly thought it was going to be more busy than it was. It was pretty busy.
Oh, okay.
Overall, I was like making the joke that I was assuming there was going to be like 1,000 11-year-olds there, and it wasn't as many as you'd think. I suppose going into Sunday into Monday, it was probably less chance of that overall. But there was definitely like
school night after all.
Yeah, a group of like maybe 14 to 17-year-old kids that were like doing the whole,
perfect.
Yelling and shouting and cheering and all that kind of stuff. Yeah, when I was young, when I was but a boy, Pokemon the first movie came out. And Tyler might have this memory as well too, but like I feel like we all begged our parents to go and see it. And if you've seen Pokemon the first movie, particularly the English dub, it doesn't make sense because they cut out like half of it and like re-edited it together because they thought the ending was too traumatic for American audiences to begin with. But anyways, my dad saw that movie in sunglasses and he slept through the whole thing. And I kind of wish I had the ability to do that in the Minecraft movie.
Don't say that. You don't mean that.
Listen, like it was fine, right? The things that I enjoyed about it, there's 3 good jokes throughout the whole movie. I enjoyed Jack Black being able to do Jack Black things. But part of me genuinely did feel like it was the moment of like, oh, this is the moment when I realize like I am too old for some of this stuff. Like the cultural touchstone and humor benchmarks in this movie have passed me by. It made me feel like this was the first movie edited that I've seen that felt like it was edited for TikTok. There's a bit of TikTok filmmaking that has made its way into that movie. I would have enjoyed
it presses your attention span, that's for sure.
Fuck, man, yeah, it does. There's a million other things going on at once, none of which are actual plot lines. It's just kind of like, well, this happens now.
Yeah. I would argue there's hardly a plot line.
No, yeah, it's fine. Like I liked it more than the Mario movie.
I mean, actually, yeah. That was my comparison I was gonna make.
I don't know if it's better than Sonic's.
haven't seen any of them, so I can't speak to that.
Yeah, I genuinely think it might not be.
Okay.
I like, it was cool. I felt like I was happy that the people that love Minecraft had their Minecraft movie that it seems like was built specifically for them so that they could go through and list all their stuff and have their TikTok feed that is the Minecraft algorithm put onto a 60-foot screen for them. And that felt like that was what we were going for there.
Wow.
The things look cool. They were well made. Like the
CGI is actually not as jarring and as bad as I thought it was going to be.
There's definitely times where you're like, well, they're just sitting in a broom closet that's painted green.
No, absolutely.
So much of that movie is animated.
Yeah.
And like the parts that are there for like adults kind of thing are funny, right? Jennifer Coolidge is funny. The guys from Flight of the Conchords are funny. Like, they are naturally funny people. So the movie's smart enough to just bring those people in and let them do their thing. But, I would much rather see a movie with Jack Black, Jason Momoa, and Jennifer Coolidge that doesn't have a Minecraft albatross hung around its neck.
Yeah.
But I get the sense I'm fully deflating your balloon. Tell me about your enjoyment.
No, man. No. I not at all.
Adam comes in with electric. Nathaniel's like, I wish I was fucking drunk and just beating the shit out of kids instead of sitting there watching that fucking movie.
Listen, I just, you know what? I knew what I was walking into, and it was everything I thought it was going to be. It was everything I hoped it would be and more. I saw this probably prime time viewing for this kind of movie, which was Saturday at 1:30 p.m.
Sure.
So,
and I hope you had your
this was Sunday. This was Sunday.
In your bag of Nerds gummy clusters that everyone was having there too, I'm sure.
I do love Nerds gummy clusters. Didn't have the icy, but if I was 11-year-old, I absolutely would. Either way, this was Sunday at 1:30. So, no bedtimes for these kids. This was prime kid time. I had such a wide age group here. There was kids I could definitely tell were sub 10,
sure,
probably in the 5 to 10 range. And then we definitely did have a handful of groups that were the like 12 to 15-year-olds that were just right on the edge of rowdy to an extent.
Yeah,
so
weirdly,
it was a perfect blend.
But they seemed like they wanted to see the movie. That was the thing. Like they wanted they wanted to be loud and have their moments, but then they actually wanted to watch the rest of the movie, which, like, again, like that was fine. Like, as far as crowds go, I've had worse experiences in Marvel movies. Like, it was totally lovely. Like, to be perfectly honest,
it was one of those movies where you're like, like I'm in a theater and like there are other people here, and
there is definitely
no less than
that energy.
Yeah, it was. Yes, there was that energy from the moment I walked into the IMAX screening. It was like, oh, there's a buzz here. People are ready to get rowdy for this movie. No less than 24 claps happened throughout this movie. It was just like any excuse you had to clap or cheer, you clapped or cheered. It was fantastic. Then there was people quoting lines from the movie like they'd seen it already. The chicken jockey moment had already been memed for me, so I knew it was coming. Yeah. I was ready for it.
Is that a thing?
There was.
I don't understand.
I have no
that.
clue. Okay. I don't know either. I've never heard it before in my life until I saw people talking about how kids were losing their minds in the screening. So I was ready for it.
That
feels
when it
came.
That feels like a weird studio led social media campaign bullshit thing.
Yeah,
like the chicken jockey thing.
I don't know who weaseled their way into that screenplay to get Chicken Jockey in there, but whoever did needs a raise because it hit home like it's never hit home before for these kids, man. So yeah, I had a blast watching this movie. Is it a good movie? Absolutely not. Is it better than Mario Brothers? It's on par, I would say. Okay. I don't know.
Yeah,
I have more affinity probably for Mario Brothers than I do Minecraft.
Sure.
And there's more of an homage to actual Mario Brothers than there really is to Minecraft here, from like my understanding. But like, I don't know, dude. It's exactly what I expected it was going to be, And it was just fun to go watch a movie like this where it's just like no one cares and no one's taking this seriously and we're just gonna have a good time. And I had a blast. So I don't know if you it's hard to recommend this movie at this point because I think if you see it now outside of opening weekend, I don't know if there's going to be as many people there doing that same thing, so it might not be worth it at this point. But I think seeing it opening weekend, like having that experience was so much fun. And this movie made so much money that they're probably going to make another one, so that's cool. But yeah, I don't know. I had a blast. I had so much fun.
Was there, and I'm sorry, I don't know if I caught everything you guys are saying, but is there a reason Jack Black keeps taking all of these video game adaptations to film?
He's a gamer
know?
himself, I think, and I don't know. I think he's just at a point in his career where, like,
yeah, he could just be like, fuck it, man. I'm cashing out.
Yeah, it's that, and he's like
recommend
a family-friendly enough face and an actor in Hollywood where, like, you know, I think he kind of strikes the balance of like kids know him at this point, obviously because he's Bowser and now in this movie and other stuff. But like people our age obviously know him from his earlier stuff and Kung Fu Panda, of course. So it's like, yeah, I think he just appeals to such a wide audience that he's very easy to put in these movies and just it'd be like, hey, come see Jack Black do X. So yeah, I mean, I think it's probably just him being in a nice little niche.
Well, yeah, and he's never been like no one's ever been like, yeah, dude, that dude's an asshole. Like Tenacious D is body and like they like cuss and like they're all thing, but like it was never like, oh, Jack Black's like a horrible rock star like persona kind of thing, like where you know they're just gremlins.
He did cancel his tour for not popular reasons, but I don't want to get into those. But yeah, I can't answer that other than I think it's just he's a recognizable face at this point. I think he can bridge generations.
And like he's super committed into it. Like he's chewing the scenery and like, doing his whole thing in it. Like again,
oh my god, he's happy to be there.
It in.
Yeah,
he's happy. He's happy to be in this movie.
Yeah,
he's so happy to be in this movie, and it's just hilarious because as you said, Nathaniel, you're like, wow, this, you know what, Jack? I'm so excited you're happy to be on a green screen stage. Like he's loving it. I don't know, he's having a good time.
As a movie,
Jason Momoa is also, for his part, I also think I kind of having a good time. I don't know, he's just playing a random ass character, but he seems to be having fun as well.
Yeah, I think like as a movie, anything like in its like themes or whatever is better done in the Lego Movie. But
sure,
like the theater experience was fun and was a good time, and I'm happy I got to see that. So
it was awesome.
Yeah, that's a Minecraft movie.
I did transitioning out of that, me and my future roommate Danny, Noah 5, we back-to-backed Minecraft with Hell of a Summer.
I've not heard of that movie.
It's Finn Wolfhard. I think either directed or wrote it.
Yeah.
As soon as you said that, I know what you're talking about.
Yeah, it's the camp horror movie.
And not camp as in corny. Camp as in
no camp. Camp as in literally it's camp.
Camping.
Camping.
How was that?
Yeah. It
It
was on par in terms of like think of okay, here's a good way to put this. It's bodies, but it's summer camp horror type thing.
Sure.
Okay.
But to me, it's I like bodies more than this. Sure. But it was still fine. You know, you got A-list. It's worth popping in there. Would I pay $15 to go watch this movie? Absolutely not. But it was decent. Got some good laughs out of it.
Okay.
So yeah, if you're interested. But did that. I'm trying to think if I can just finish off my what we're watching. I don't know what else I've watched. Oh, I'm done with season 1 of Severance, so that's exciting. Finally, saw the cliffhanger everyone talked about. Wow, enlightening. It is a little anticlimactic because I hear everyone talk about this cliffhanger at the end of season 1, which is a really good cliffhanger, and it is kind of like, oh shit, kind of thing.
Implications.
Yeah, absolutely. So it is like an oh shit type moment and type cliffhanger. a little anticlimactic because I have season 2 to just jump right into.
Yeah, you didn't have to
so
wait
it doesn't
3
hit home
years or whatever it was.
exactly
in real
yeah.
time.
So it doesn't hit quite on that front, but still enjoyed the season throughout. Glad it finally picked back up in the last like 3 episodes because episode like 3 through 6 are like, okay, what's going on here? Like whatever. And now I'm excited to get into season 2. I think that's pretty much it for me. Anyone else?
I haven't caught up a ton. Just do a lot of traveling back and forth, right? Seeing the lady in Milwaukee. So I haven't watched a ton. Did watch a little bit of the college basketball championships though.
Oh, good games.
Yeah, man. Yeah,
I was wrong last week. I don't know if this
Did you
made
take
it
Duke?
public on pod. I took Florida to win my brackets. I actually my bracket ended up being
you're solid then.
yeah. I didn't win any of my brackets. I came pretty close. If I had just
Fair.
taken 1 or 2 less upsets, I probably could have come out with a few. If I didn't pick Missouri to,
Yeah.
we're not going to talk about that. But yeah, if my brackets ended up doing pretty well at the end of the day because Florida did win. I did say though last week the only thing I was confident in was Duke beating Houston, which wasn't a bad take because they did almost beat Houston.
Yeah,
Probably
they
should've won
blew
that
it
game.
in essence.
But yeah, I guess I was wrong.
Yeah. So yeah, I caught some of that. And the other day I did get on an old horror tangent, and unfortunately it's a film you kind of hate to talk about aloud due to the director being a fucking horrible person. Objectively.
Nathaniel, guess the director.
No way around it.
I was gonna say there's a lot of options here on this one. Are we going Jeepers Creepers?
Yeah, we are. I knew Nathaniel would pick it up, so yeah, I did spin the first Jeepers Creepers. Which that movie genuinely is
It's good. It's a great movie.
Quietly one of my favorite horror movies. Yeah, it's good too, but yeah, unfortunately it's hard to advocate for it, right? Fucking
Who's the director of that?
Director.
His name.
I don't even want to give him any credit for
Yeah,
it.
something or other. He's like a convicted pedophile. Like he's just not
For sure. Sick person.
For sure.
Yeah.
But yeah, did go back and rewatch the first Jeepers Creepers, Justin Long, and
It's great.
it's awesome, man. Yeah. I agree.
Do you like him?
Maybe I don't know. We'll see if we can get on pod one day. I don't know. I'm kind of against advocating and putting that movie on pod, but
Yeah, at some point you gotta. He didn't make the whole movie, right? There's a lot of other people that are there doing their job that makes that movie successful as well.
yeah, that's a good point. But yeah, that's about it. That's all I wanted to share. Is it Ty?
I'll finish up a little bit because
yeah,
I think we watched the Japanese Grand Prix together. Ty.
Okay.
I did watch that as well.
And
not necessarily together, but like kind of together.
Together in bed.
Yeah.
At the same time. Well, we were both in separate beds, but together.
Gotcha.
It
was like midnight until like
it was
almost 2
in
a.m.
Japan, so yeah, that it makes sense.
We were texting.
time-wise.
I was up.
It's true.
Yeah.
No one called me, but it's cool.
Nobody called anybody.
This time. I want to say there's something else I watched. Oh, I've been watching baseball. Baseball's back. So
Baseball's back. Baseball's back.
yeah, so it was another one of those things where I was like, oh shit, I bet you I'm still playing for the MLB app. And then lo and behold, I certainly am. So I was like, well, locked in for another season over here on the MLB TV.
That also hit my card. Yeah, that hit my card the other day too. And I was like, ooh, I really didn't want that charge on my card.
Yeah. Well,
but here we are, locked and loaded, baby. Yeah.
I'm pretty sure you have like 30 days to cancel.
Whatever.
I mean,
It's
whatever.
it's fine.
I was gonna renew it anyway. I just didn't
There
want it
is
to be
a
right
part
now.
of me that like does enjoy having the ability to just whenever I want throw on a baseball game. So
Yeah,
Sure.
it's so fun to have in the background. Just
it is. It
noise.
is. Yeah. Remember when we had live sports for background noise rather than TV
And
shows and streaming services?
fantasy baseball is in full swing for me too. I'm currently leading both my leagues right now. No big deal.
It's 162 games. Change every day. It's too much of a commitment for me, man.
No thanks.
I'm in two leagues. That's daily lineups.
That's rough, bro.
Points league. I'm in two leagues that are probably the most intense you can get in fantasy sports, period. So it's a lot to manage. I do prioritize one league over the other and invest much more time into that one, but it's so much fun. My team is so good.
Tyler, what have you been watching?
Belabor that point.
Excuse me. Yeah, I got to the Grand Prix. Leah and I had started and currently finished season 1 of Landman. I don't know if I talked
I think
about that
you were
last
talking
week.
about that last week a little bit.
It.
Yeah, well, we finished the second, or we finished the first season. I think there is only one season currently. So, when a second one comes out, I'm sure we'll get back to that. But the other big thing is I committed to Black Clover, and part of me wanted to stop and just fall off, and then I was like, I can't. That makes me a hypocrite. I can't just back down because there's filler episodes.
It's true.
That
one does have some rough filler though.
Yeah, I was just not prepared. Like
it got me
I
too.
never had like any background knowledge on it or anything like that. It was just like I saw on Netflix, and I think it was like one of these past weekends where Leah was basically going to be away. I think it was maybe for like the cheer competition for state or something like that. And so I was like, dude, I'll be able to pump this out in like a weekend. I'm like, it'll be so easy for me to do this. I'm like, it's probably like 20 episodes. It's 4 seasons. I'm like, this will be so easy. And then at some point I looked at it and I looked at more info,
50
and like season 1 or 2 or 60 episodes.
Yeah.
And, season 3 is like 40 and season 4 is like currently at like 20 something.
Yeah.
So I'm like, oh fuck.
Yeah.
But I'm committed. I'm pretty much done. I got like maybe 4 more episodes in the first season. So
what does that end
I'm
with?
hoping
or what's
excuse me, man.
Asta is
so
on the
his arms are injured.
Okay.
And they just got to I think her name's Vanessa, but she's part of the witch community.
Okay.
They just got to the witch queen kind of deal.
Okay. Yep.
So
yeah, I love
the fight in the cave with
mirror guy.
Despair, like so good. And then Captain Yami being basically trapped in that room with old geezer guy from Water Temple, and then he comes out and is like dimensional slap. I'm like, let's go. And it's All Might.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm like, dude, let's go. As soon as he got done like saying his little tagline, I was full blown like, I was like, do I have to go back to My Hero again?
Again? Black Clover is fun. I like Black Clover a lot. I think the world's pretty fun. I like the way that their abilities kind of manifest and all that good stuff. It's a good show.
Yeah, it's cool. I only have like one major gripe, which is like typical anime stuff, but obviously I don't have to talk about it here because we're running a little bit late. But yeah, that's kind of what I've been getting down on. So Marvel Rivals has been kind of stopped on, like Tim's channel and stuff like that because, they got to get paid and play Verdansk, which makes me want to fucking blow my brains out. But, but yeah, I'm sure, they'll go back away from that game because it's just absolutely garbage. But yeah, that's all I got.
Cool. Is that everybody?
Yes, sir.
All right, let's speed on out of here. Please share the podcast, share with a friend, family member, maybe an army of pigs that you encounter in the forest, something along those lines, or the fine people of Irontown. While you're doing that, follow us on Twitter, Banter Row, on YouTube, or just Back Row Banter Pod. You can subscribe to us there. And then our email, if you want to send us one of those, is backrowbanterpod@gmail.com. We'll go Nathaniel Gingrich. Where can the people find you at, my man?
You can find me on Letterboxd at NS Gingrich, on Instagram, NathanielG92. Tyler?
Instagram, Letterboxd, and X are all Tyler Vidalis, VIDLES. Blake is out.
Jesus, lost my train of thought there. Letterboxd, BlakeHolder. I'll be on there, logs and things, rate them out of 5 stars. PSN, Xbox, Mr. Watercoolers, Instagram, Mr. Watercoolers. Appreciate the support. Thanks for all the listenership and viewership. We're aiming to get here on video here coming shortly. We're going to have that anniversary coming up in a few months, so time flies. We appreciate it as always. We'll BRB.
Oh, man, don't stop it. I didn't go.
America. Ready for another lesson.
I finished a book today called The Psychopath Test, which is about a journalist who kind of like gets involved into like what really makes a psychopath and like what the psychopath like criteria are and how like that kind of crossover that you do see with a lot of like businesses or like high power leadership positions and that kind of thing. And then also how like there's people that will have periods of like almost psychopathy as well too, where like you will like suddenly act out in this really weird impulsive way, but like that can be managed as well too, and it's just like maybe more of a shifting paradigm than maybe we think it is, and like you're not just you either are one or aren't one and that kind of thing. Like most
It's not
things.
binary. It's
Like most things, there's a spectrum overall. So yeah, it was an interesting book. It came out, I think, in like 2010 or so. So there's even parts of it that feel very dated to like by today's standards for sure. I'm sure if I looked up some other stuff about it, like who knows where its current standing is. But it was an interesting read.
Nice. I may have to add that to the list. So what did you say? You said Psychopath Test?
Yeah, Psychopath Test. It was a library book. I've been going to the library because
my brother.
Hey, that motherfucker's free and a pleasant space.
Many things aren't these days.
Yeah.
Grab your libraries while you can, folks.
Yeah.
Hold on tight.
I will a big patron.
Thanks for sharing that, Nathaniel. I'm gonna add that to a list, man. I actually, similar to you, went to the library and I got my first library book, fellas.
There we go. 2 out of the 4 members on the Back Row Banter podcast got library cards this year.
Yeah.
Well, I said this year. That's why I qualified. Oh, I can't hear you, which means this can't hear you.
Fortunately for you. But I mean, as you guys know, I'm a big horror guy, so I had to find something up the horror alley.
Oh damn! All right.
And actually, I came across it on Reddit like that morning. And it was somebody on Reddit basically putting together a discussion on like black character tropes in horror movies.
Sure.
It was like a long discussion, and then somebody actually recommended like, hey, there's actually a book on this.
Sure.
Right? Of like where it all stemmed from. And somebody recommended the book, and I was like, that looks awesome. Went to the library and I found it. So that's the book I got. Yeah, man. It's called The Black Guy Dies First. Black horror cinema from it basically starts from like the 1940s or so, and like how the whole trope started.
Who's the author on that?
Mark H. Harris and Robin R. Coleman.
Okay. I will check it out.
Don't know much about any of these guys, as you guys know.
Maybe
I'm not versed.
Maybe I can pick it up at my local library. And
yeah, man.
We can go from there. Sounds fun.
Yeah, man. Yeah, dude. So yeah, it was an interesting discussion on Reddit, and somebody recommended it, and it had like 100 and something upvotes. So I assume it's like pretty solid, right? It's not like something somebody just recommended that people didn't know about. So
no, the fact that it's got multiple authors sounds like it's probably like a researched book rather than just like
it is. Yeah, it says it has an actual a lot of research and supporting data on kind of these tropes in horror cinema and how everything starts. So yeah, man, it's should be a good read. Picked it up the other day.
All right.
Too bad libraries aren't like all connected and you can just change them at like different cities and different states and stuff like that.
Oh, so you can go to, I guess that does make sense. You can only go to the library you have an actual card in. They're not like by state or county. That's fucking lame, man.
I think it depends. I think there is an interlibrary network.
there are networks of libraries.
Yeah.
For sure.
But that's definitely one of the things that good old
The
47
internet is killed.
is trying to take down as well too. If there's like a international, there's a part of it that's like federally funded as well too, and that's obviously gone within the last 3 months. So
Yeah.
I forgot what podcast I was listening to that said this on, but they were like, imagine if someone tried to create, like, imagine libraries didn't exist and then someone tried to create them today. Would never happen. Would never happen in a million years.
Yeah.
it's literally can only kind of be the function of like a rich bored person, right? And we don't have any of those anymore. All of our rich people are psychos.
Yep.
Yeah, right.
They're all obsessed with making more money. None of them are like doing cool Tony Stark shit. And the one that was went fucking crazy and decided to become the richest man in the world. So, yeah, sucks.
Yep.
Sorry,
The evil world, man.
didn't mean to destroy the conversation there, guys. Libraries.
No worries, no. But yeah,
I do want to check out that book though. That does sound good. Black Guy Dies First. I will keep that in mind now.
Yeah, I can shoot it to you if need be, or even shoot you the discussion on Reddit if you wanted to read what they were saying on there.
Do you like reading more nonfiction stuff if you are going to read?
Honestly, brother, I don't have enough data to even answer that.
Fair enough.
Right? So, like, this is the first book I checked out from a library in an embarrassing amount of time. I would probably go as far to venture probably since high school. For sure.
Okay.
I would have to imagine.
Since you were being rewarded with pizza parties for how many books you read.
Yeah, right? Exactly. So, and I'd probably go as far as say this is probably the first time I've checked out a book like on my own willingly.
Sure.
So, but you got to start
with Haley behind you and a gun to your head.
Hey man, shout out the internet for at least pointing you in the right direction.
See, the internet is good for something sometimes, right?
Sometimes.
So, yeah, they did point me to that. To Adam's point, yeah, Haley will probably laugh if she doesn't glance over this episode. But yeah, she was there with me though when I got the book. But we went there for something else, and then I just happened to find the book that I saw on Reddit earlier.
Sure.
Gotcha.
But yeah, we went there to print some things off.
For sure.